still on to Network Africa. Rights group Amnesty International says U.S. airstrikes in Somalia have killed civilians in violation of international humanitarian law, an allegation that the U.S. denies. Amnesty says in a report that in just 5 airstrikes it studied, 14 civilians were killed and 7 more injured. Under the presidency of Donald Trump, the U.S. air campaign targeting al-Shabaab militants has intensified. Back in 2018, it conducted at least 47 airstrikes in Somalia. But this year alone, its tally is more than half that number. With each announcement, its Africa Command insists there were no civilian casualties recorded. Amnesty says it has gathered photographic and eyewitness accounts that prove otherwise. Among these was an airstrike in November 2017, in which AFRICOM says it killed several militants. Ministry of Education in Burkina Faso has confirmed the deaths of 2 teachers after being kidnapped on March 11th. According to an official, the goal of the kidnappers was to scare the teachers into abandoning their posts in the region. Both teachers were working in the town of Jibo, where teachers are regularly threatened. In 3 areas affected by an upsurge in violence by Islamist militant groups in Burkina Faso, over 1,000 of the 2,869 schools have closed in recent months. These regions are in the north of the country that borders Mali and Niger, where jihadist militants have operated for years. Schools have been targeted by the groups who are opposed to Western education. 10 migrants at least have died after their boat sank off the Libyan coast near the western town of Sabrata. A Libyan security official, Ayman Dabashi, says about 18 others were rescued as officials continue to look for more people. According to a survivor from Sudan, the boat was carrying about 27 illegal migrants who set off from the western town of Zuwara. The United Nations Migration Agency, the IOM, says 15 survivors have been brought to a hospital, but does not know how many people have been on board. Libya's Coast Guard, western coast, is a main departure point for migrants fleeing poverty and wars to reach Europe, though the numbers have dropped since Italy and the European Union stepped in to support Libya's coast guards. An international strawberry festival in Morocco celebrates a record high harvest this year in the North African country. Organized annually by the local Nalcia Foundation, the festival is an opportunity for organizers to make local strawberry growers aware of new harvesting techniques for one of the country's most sought-after exports.
A procession celebrating 13-year-old Maura Belarak, crowned as this year's Miss Strawberry, toured strawberry farms in Lemnarassa commune in the Kenitra province of Morocco. Music bands and traditional horsemanship entertained visitors during the festival's 9th edition. This year's harvest is expected to reach nearly 200,000 tons, up from 180 tons in previous years.
We chose this slogan, especially this year, around the theme of scientific research, especially the biological treatment against fungal diseases in strawberry, with the use of biological substance for the health of the consumer as well as the soil.
Out of the 4,300 hectares devoted to red fruits in the west of the country, at least 3,600 hectares are set for the cultivation of strawberries. Sandy soils and plenty of water provide the ideal conditions for growing the fruit.
The first machine reads the soil humidity. It will save the amount of water used during irrigation by using only the necessary amount. The second machine reads the humidity and temperature of the air. It could be used in greenhouses to know exactly both the degrees of humidity and temperature inside the greenhouse to improve the production and minimize the damage for the plants. By doing so, production will be improved.
The country's strawberry industry employs 18,000 permanent workers, both in the fields and in 24 conditioning plants, as well as nearly 12,000 seasonal workers, mainly women working during the harvest season, according to the Ministry of Agriculture.
The women in the fields are workers who receive a wage for their labor. We want them to be entrepreneurs and landowners instead of being paid workers. We want them to contribute to the development of their country alongside their male brothers.
Analysts estimate that strawberry exports are set to triple by the year 2020 as a nationwide initiative named Green Morocco Plan is set to boost the country's agricultural sector. Most of Morocco's production is destined for exports to the European Union, bringing hard currencies to the country. But in the past few years, the local market has won a growing share of the harvest.
And here's one that's supposed to get your heart racing. For those adrenaline junkies, as motorsports becomes more popular in Egypt, also is a racing teams. So you know that with racing teams and with motor racing, the vehicles are important. The concern here now is the type of vehicles being used and whether they really need to be imported from the outside.
A racing team is pushing Egypt to make its way to international tracks with a locally assembled car. The racers want to shift to manufacturing and maintaining the cars locally and are hoping they can popularize the motorsport in the North African country. While some of the car parts, including the engine and internal components, are still imported from abroad, the team's vehicle chassis and body are manufactured locally.
Of course, it cost us a lot because there were many mistakes. It could have been cheaper buying one directly from abroad. But we wanted the know-how to come to Egypt. We wanted Egyptians to be the ones working on the car.
The car was assembled in 2012 and has since then been used by the team in local and international competitions, including the Dakar Rally in 2014. The vehicle is not intended for commercial use and it is licensed by the Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile, FIA, to participate in international competitions.
My dream is to raise the flag of Egypt in a large international race, such as the Paris-Dakar Rally, the world's largest race. It lasts for 14 days. So, of course, our dream is to represent Egypt in this sport there, as well as to achieve good results.
The Rihala team is part of a growing community of Egyptian racers whose efforts include a school to train racing enthusiasts.
And that'd be a pretty good place to test your driving. Thanks for watching Network Africa. I am Amarachi Ubani.